Does your child have an IEP? Then you've come to the right place. If they have special education or related services, then more than likely, they're gonna have a triennial review. But what is a triennial review? What about a reevaluation? Are they gonna test your child? Can they exit them? Oh my goodness. Take a deep breath. I'm gonna walk you through it. That's why inside this video, I'm gonna spell out the truths and myths when it comes to triennial IEPs, reevaluations, and most importantly, how to get and keep the best IEP for your child's needs. Hey, what's up? I'm April Rarig, your special education advocate and school psych to make IEPs and 504 plans so much easier. If you're new here, go ahead and click on that subscribe button to get more videos like this in your inbox, and check us out on Instagram at RiseEdAdvocacy. Here's what you need to know about IEPs. Individual education plans, sometimes known as programs, are regulated under IDEA law. The problem is, pro tip, is that your school has a ton of federal, state, and local policies and provisions it must follow, including triennial reviews. So let's dig in deep. Make sure to keep watching this video until the very end because there's so much riding on a triennial assessment. You're going to be blown away with what I'm going to tell you next. So, case in point, what is a triennial assessment? In a nutshell, IDEA law mandates your child be evaluated at least every 3 years. So let's take a look at something called the special education cycle. Go ahead and grab that link in the description box below to get your first free guide. So inside the cycle, I want you to take a look at the top. That is going to be the referral, or when your child starts with the IEP process. After they are referred and found eligible, then your child is going to get an initial IEP. Notice next there's progress monitoring, then there's going to be another IEP, and then your child is going to be due for a triennial review. That means every 3 years, your team is mandated to convene a meeting. Notice something in the middle. This is called a reevaluation, and this is exactly why it's so important that you're watching this video, because a triennial review and a reevaluation is not the same thing. So like I said earlier, a triennial review is mandated at least every 3 years. However, with a reevaluation, you as parents can request retesting and reevaluations at any time, or your school can too. So what am I saying? I'm saying that a triennial IEP and a reevaluation is not the same thing. And you need to look out for it and be very careful, because many times your school may say, oh, we're not going to recommend testing, and they're going to waive all that testing. More about this as we go into the next video. So I want to show you something else that I have, and I want you to check out the playlist about IEP and special education process. There's so many videos that will help you understand where you are and where you need to go so that your child can get the best help for their needs. Grab that link in the description box below. So now you know a little bit more when it comes to triennial IEPs and specifically the special education cycle. Let's dig in further, meaning what's the point, or why do triennial assessments matter? First, we're going to tackle triennial IEPs. So here's the deal, pro tip. Your school, like I said earlier, is mandated under IDEA law to reevaluate your child for a triennial review every 3 years. Why? Because your school has to determine if your child continues to exhibit a disability, if they meet at least one of 13 eligibility criteria, and what related services or supports they need. What am I saying? I'm saying the assessment results that your team is going to put together for the Triennial IEP is going to drive the rest of the IEP when it comes to goals, services, or what's called the offer of free appropriate public education, or FAPE, in the least restrictive environment, also known as LRE. Now, here's the difference. When it comes to a reevaluation, why it matters is different. Because when it comes to reevaluation, like I said earlier, you as parents have the right to request for new testing. Why would you want this? Pro tip, if your child is not meeting their IEP goals, if you want more services, or you want to stop your school from saying we're going to dismiss your child, or they're no longer eligible, or they don't need speech, OT, or whatever, or if your team is talking about changing your child's placement to a more restrictive setting. What am I saying? I'm saying that your team must convene a reevaluation before they change your child's placement, before they do so many other things, including exiting your child. That is the power of reevaluations. Speaking of reevaluations, I want you to check out this video on IQ testing. Grab it in the link in the description box below. Why? Because your school psychologist, someone like me, for the reevaluation or even for a triennial review, is going to do a ton of testing. And you want to understand what your school psych is saying and what it really means. I also want you to check out my next free guide called The 6 Pillars of IDA. Why? Because your team is going to be talking about the things that I already pointed out earlier. Least restrictive environment, FAPE, comprehensive assessments, your procedural safeguards, oh my goodness. And they're going to be saying so many acronyms, and you don't want them to mess with you because you want to know exactly what they're saying and why. Grab both those links in the description box below. So we've talked about what is a triennial and a reevaluation and why it matters for your child. Now it's time to dig even deeper. Specifically, we got to talk about the elephant in the room, meaning what is it going to look like when you go to a triennial IEP meeting. So we're going to talk about both of a triennial and a reevaluation because the process is essentially the same, but they are slightly different. So first things first, number one, let's talk about triennial IEP meetings. So here's what's going to happen. In order for a triennial assessment to happen, it depends on your state, but more than likely you may need to give consent, meaning you might need to sign what's called an assessment plan, a PTE, permission to evaluate, or a form giving your consent to formal standardized tests. Now, here's the problem, pro tip. You may not be getting that formal assessment permission letter, and your team might do something called waiving an assessment. You do not want this. I'm going to explain to you exactly how to avoid this in the next part of this video. So moving on, when it comes to a triennial IEP, the process, like I said, there's going to be a permission for you to sign form depending on your state. From there, there is going to be a timeline. Every state has different timelines. Essentially, under IDA law, the timeline is going to be approximately 60 calendar days, but you need to look at your state website to figure out the process. From that point, during that 60-day or whatever the timeline is going to be, your child is going to be formally assessed. What am I talking about? IQ testing, cognitive testing, academic testing, social emotional testing. If they have related services, then your child could be getting related service evaluations like OT, PT, APE, a health and developmental assessment. All of this needs to happen during this timeline. Then step 2, or the next thing that's going to happen, is your child is going to have what's called an eligibility meeting. So for a reevaluation or even a triennial IEP, there might be 2 parts to your meeting. There's going to be an eligibility portion where your team talks about if your child continues to qualify, and then there might be an IEP portion. Now, here's something your school is not going to tell you. Pro tip: the eligibility meeting, also called an ETR, might be a different meeting from an IEP, meaning there might be a space of time between the eligibility meeting and the actual IEP. So what am I saying? I'm saying it could be 90 days, it could be 120 days from start to finish for a triennial or even a reevaluation meeting. That's exactly why I'm so glad that you're watching this video, because there's so much riding on those assessments. Make sure to check out my video about assessments for what you need to expect and why, because when it comes to someone like me, the school psychologist, there is so much riding on that assessment in terms of what your team is going to offer, what new services they're going to offer or not offer. And that's exactly why I want to give you everything that I know so that you can rock your child's eligibility or reevaluation. Now, here's something else that you may not know. Pro tip: when it comes to reevaluations, sometimes depending on your states, there is no set timeline. So there could be 30 days, 60 days, 90 days. You have no idea. So it really depends on your state. And that's exactly why I'm so glad that you're watching this video, so that you know exactly what to look up and what to look out for so they don't mess with you when it comes to your child. Grab the link in the description box below so you can check that video out. Now let's talk about what you want to do and not do when it comes to your child's triennial or reevaluation. So remember I talked about earlier something called waiving your right for a special education assessment at the triennial review? This is a big problem. And here's what tends to happen, pro tip, is that so many times when you are having an annual IEP or another IEP meeting, your team will either check a box on the IEP or briefly mention, oh, we're gonna go ahead and waive your right to get a formal specialized academic assessment and the whole kit and caboodle for your child's triennial IEP. What am I saying? I'm saying that there sometimes is a little box on the IEP that's hidden and your team might not really clearly explain, saying, oh, we're not going to test for the triennial review. Okay, so here's the deal. Pro tip: I have never worked with a family as a special education advocate or even a school psych, and every 3 years, there's no change. Kids change, people change, humans change. So why would we not retest your child? I am not saying that your child needs every test under the sun for the triennial review, but I am saying that we need to re-explore the areas and that parents need to be fully informed of the process. So as the parent, you have the right to say, hey, you know what? I would like to update cognitive testing, or hey, you know what? I would like a full reevaluation, so that you are able to make decisions and understand your rights under IDA law. That's exactly why I want you to check out my do-it-yourself IEP meetings workshops. So inside my workshops, I have a ton of different resources, from understanding reports, how to request testing, IEP meetings, and most importantly, parent participation. All of my workshops take only about a day to complete, and they show you exactly what to ask for and how to get it, and walk you through step by step, so that before you get to the triennial meeting, before you get to the reeval, you know exactly what is going to happen and why. Grab that link in the description box below. So now it's time to talk about the most important part in this video. How do you get your child reevaluated? How do you get triennial IEP testing in all the right areas? I know you're stressed out about it. Oh my gosh, I was stressed out so much too as a mom. And this is exactly why I want you to check out my reevaluation request template. Inside my digital template, it gives you step-by-step directions so you can write a letter and attach it to your child's record saying, hey, for the Triennial IEP, I would like these types of domains to be looked at, or I am concerned about these related services. Or if you are requesting a reevaluation, it tells the evaluators the scope and sequence of what is the reason for referral. It lays out to every single assessor what type of testing you would like and what are the areas that you're concerned about, and if you're concerned that your child may have a new or different eligibility. Is one of the most powerful templates that I use with all my families as a special education advocate every single day, and I want to give it to you right now. Grab the link in the description box below. So now you know so much more when it comes to Triennial IEPs and reevaluations. Do you have a question? I know you must have tons. Put it in the link in the description box below so that I can answer your questions and make things easier. Do you want me to do another video? Yep, put it there too. Make sure to check out all the links below so that you can get the best support and services for your child. Like and subscribe to get more videos like this in your inbox, and check us out on Instagram at RiseEdAdvocacy. I'm April Rarig, your special education advocate and school psych. I can't wait to see you for our next video.